The Liberal Democrats and I want to stop small, dangerous small boat crossings. We want to stop the smuggling gangs and bring them to justice. The former Conservative government failed to do either. My constituents in Woking and people across the country need this government to deliver a compassionate, effective and fair immigration and asylum system. If this government thought that this bill and the amendments were enough to do that, the Home Secretary would not have come to this House on Monday to deliver a statement to announce another raft of immigration packages. I will give way.
Very grateful to the honourable gentleman. He, like myself and several others in the chamber, spent hours and hours in committee considering these very measures, only for this week the Home Secretary to come along and trumpet with even more harsher measures. Does he feel like me, that we almost were wasting our time considering things which are only going to be superseded by the Home Secretary?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I want to thank my honourable friend from Perth and Kinrossshire for his comments. He and I and others worked really hard on the Bill Committee, proposing humanitarian visa amendments, trying to lift the ban on asylum seekers working, both of which would have made things better for taxpayers here and vulnerable refugees as well. And sadly, we were not listened to then, and we will continue. If I can finish this first response to the intervention first. Sadly, we were not listened to in that Bill Committee. I hope we're listened to if we have the pleasure or unfortunate duty to serve on the next Bill Committee. I believe there's another intervention.
Gentlemen, for giving way. Since we all sat on that Bill Committee, the Government has announced a one-in, one-out deal with France, and then this week new safe routes as part of the new package. The one-in, one-out deal, the one-in is a safe route. And the new safe and other safe routes were announced by the Home Secretary this week. So will the honourable gentleman welcome the government's reform to fixing the immigration system, given that's what he's been calling for?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I want to thank the honourable gentleman from Edinburgh North, who also had the Edinburgh East, sorry, I've got my compass points wrong, for his intervention. I'm pleased the Home Secretary and his government are finally listening to what myself and others have said for years, that safe and legal routes are really important. However, the one-in, one-out deal that has been announced with France isn't delivering what the government wanted to do. The humanitarian visas and the safe routes that we proposed would have done so. We haven't seen a flood of Ukrainians cross the Channel because we have a genuine safe route for them. We need to expand those initiatives to others. If I may make some progress, Madam Deputy Speaker, there are parts of this bill that the Liberal Democrats welcome, and I assume others welcome as well. But the glaring reality is it is far short of what is needed to keep our borders safe and people safe. The government says this bill gives authorities stronger tools. Some of this is true. For example, clauses 19 to 26 in the committee stage from the government amendments. They give the border force and police further powers to seize electronic devices. I think that's broadly sensible. A report stage government amendment on tightening offences linked to the supply of equipment used by organised crime is also a reasonable step. The Liberal Democrats and I also welcome changes that our peers pressed for in the other place, including the exemption for hygiene products, which came from a recommendation from the Joint Committee on Human Rights, which I know the Minister mentioned. I am grateful for the Government for listening in this instance to my colleagues' suggestions on that. The Government was defeated in the other place on an amendment that required data collection on overseas students who had visas revoked due to criminal offences. The Conservative amendment doesn't help tackle organised crime or improve border security. I do not believe it strengthens this bill. As such, Liberal Democrat MPs will not be supporting it later today. The Government pushed amendments on data sharing, the EU settlement scheme and conditions on leave or bail, many of which tidy up or respond to human rights concerns from the Liberal Democrats. These are fine as far as they go, but they do not change the overall picture. In summary, Madam Deputy Speaker, if the Government truly wants to stop small boat crossings, it must work more closely with our European partners. Tough talk at home will not achieve what cooperation abroad can. But this bill and the tabled amendments will not tackle the huge asylum backlog or reduce the hotel bills that this government inherited from the Conservatives. Unless the government supports what we are calling for, this bill will not deliver the safe borders and fairer system that the public expect. and they will remember this at the ballot box.
Too late.